everybody, welcome back to another video on the Kooky official YouTube channel. It is Ariel Cecilia if you guys know me from YouTube. But today I will be talking about what it's like and how to become a student in Korea. So I have a lot of experiences being a student in Korea, and I'll kind of go through each different process because I've done it 3 different times basically. But if you guys want to know more about my experience, you can obviously check out my channel, and we are going to be doing a little day in my life vlog on the Kooky TikTok channel and Instagram Reels as well. So if you guys want to see a little bit more of like what's a day in my life as a student in Korea, please check those out. Obviously, thank you so much to Kooky for having me on this video. But yeah, like I said, I have been a student in Korea 3 different times. The first time was in 2019. I was an international transfer student, so I did 1 semester like study abroad program in Korea. The second time was I went to language school in Korea, which means I spent 5 days a week, 4 hours a day learning the Korean language. And the last one, which is what I'm currently doing, is I am a full-time university student in Korea. So basically each different thing has different requirements, I guess. So I'll kind of go through a little bit by little, and then we also do have some questions you guys asked us on the Kooky Instagram. So if you guys haven't followed us, obviously go follow us. But yeah, basically starting off my journey, I just do want to point out that I am an American citizen. So all of these views and everything that I have come through to do all of these studies in Korea has been through the ways of being an American. So it might be a little bit different country to country and what your school applies and what requirements you do have. So just keep that in mind. Everything that I will be telling you guys is from the view that I am an American citizen. So yeah, just letting you guys know that. But okay, 2019, I was a freshman in college in America, and I decided that I wanted to study abroad. So how I did it was I contacted my study abroad office. I said, look, I want to go to Korea. I want to study abroad there. How can we make this work? And thankfully, my school had a program that was in relations to a school in Korea, and it was very easy to apply and get into. I'm not really sure what the requirements are school to school, but my school basically just had me write an essay. They had me submit my grades, and they had to, basically the essay was like, why do you want to go to Korea? So I explained like why I wanted to go to Korea, and then they looked at my grades, and that was basically it. I was accepted very easily to study abroad, and I did go to Sogang University in Seoul for 4 months. I was planned to go for a year, but unfortunately due to COVID I did have to come home. But yeah, that was my first experience as a student in Korea, and it was very simple studying abroad. Like I said, I paid tuition to my home university, so I did not even think about Korean university. If you guys have scholarships at home, they usually do apply overseas, so that does work really nicely for you guys. I unfortunately do not get scholarships, so that didn't apply to me. If you guys have financial aid, usually it does apply abroad as well. Again, look at your university, what your university tells you. I know that a lot of universities do have the option that if you do not have that kind of relation between schools in different countries, that you can make relations. But for my school, because we had like ties with Sogang University, I just basically applied to Sogang and I got in, and then my advisor at home helped me pick all my classes, and then I went to Sogang and just started my little 4 months of life in Korea. So it was very, very simple. Like I said, I just did it through the study abroad program at my home school. Very simple, very easy, very quick application, and I got to go abroad. Now I will just tell you guys that all of the fees, like the travel fees, money, dorm fees, all of that stuff I did pay myself. And like I said, if you do have financial aid, it usually does cover abroad, but you have to talk to your university and see what your university's rules are. Like I said, I do not get financial aid, I do not get scholarships, so I did not get any of that applied, obviously. So that was my first experience as a student in Korea. My second one was being a language student. I get asked this a lot of times, like, Ariel, how did you learn Korean? Or why did you go to language school? And what is language school? Language school is basically what you can think of as a special type of college to have an intensive immersion program into learning that country's language. Now, I specifically went with a, like, helper site to help me apply to the school because the application process can be lengthy and can be very complicated if you do it yourself, but I kind of wanted it to be easier, so I went through a program called Go Hanguk, and they helped me out. They told me exactly what I needed to get to apply. They told me like when all of the applications were due, and they also told me like which universities I could apply to. A lot of you guys might know like the popular universities in Korea, like the Sky schools, so SNU, Yonsei, and obviously Korea University. Those are obviously very popular universities to study Korean language at, but through Gogo Hanguk they have ties with Hanyang University and Dongguk University. So I chose obviously Dongguk University, and again, the application, you needed a lot, but I will just say you need to have a high school diploma. You don't need to have any college credits, you don't need to have any kind of college certificates, but you do need to have high school diploma to apply. So keep that in mind if you guys are interested in applying and you are a little bit younger. You do have to wait until you get your high school diploma. Then you do obviously need other things, like there are bank statements involved, like you need to have 20,000 US dollars in the bank. You can use your parents' information. You do need to have like good academic standing. You need to show good signs of attendance in school, because you do need to show your high school transcripts as well. And for me, because I did have my college transcripts, I could show those as well to show like my attendance and stuff. But other than that, that's basically like the main thing. They also do ask for like why you want to go to Korea, so you do have to write like essays and stuff to get in. But again, I did everything through Google Hanguk, so they made the process so much easier for me, and I didn't actually send all my documents to the school. I just sent them by email to Google Hanguk and they sent them to Korea. So it was very, very simple for me. Also, I do want to mention you do need to get most of your documents stamped, or what they called apostilled, which is like an official seal by the government. Each government is different. I'm not really sure how it works in other countries, but in America you need to get them apostilled by your state's embassy. So keep that in mind. You do need those official stamps, and they do cost a lot of money, and you do have to pay out of pocket for them, unfortunately. I think it's like $100 a stamp for each document. And I will just say also that I did have to pay my flight expenses, and I did pay for this school by myself. There is no financial aid for language school. You do have to pay out of pocket. However, language school is not that expensive. Language school goes on a 3-month term system. So there are 6 levels of language school, and each level is about 3 months, and you have like a 2-week to 3-week break. Each semester is about $1,500 roughly for a semester. So again, 3 months is about $1,500, and then the housing is also paid by yourself, and obviously like travel to Korea, travel within Korea, food expenses obviously all paid by you to go to language school. So I first of all opted to do a goshwon, which is like a tiny room in Korea. It was about $400 a month, and I hated it, to be completely honest. So when my contract was over with the goshwon, I did get an apartment here, but I also knew that I was staying here permanently, so I have like a contract, I have a lease. I went to like a budangsang, which is like a real estate agent, I guess you call. So yeah, that's a whole different story for another day. But again, all of that, accommodation, food, anything else you want is obviously on your expense, and language school does not offer scholarships. And so basically what I did was in December of 2020, I applied to language school. I was obviously accepted into language school, and then in February of 2021, March of 2021, I came to Korea. My semester started in March. I was studied all the way from level 1 all the way to level 6. So I did graduate level 6 of language school, so I am technically advanced in Korean, which is pretty exciting. And I did get my level 6 certificates and everything, so I definitely did do like technically it's a 1.5 year program. I did the whole 1.5 years. And I do recommend the experience of language school. It is so great. It does suck a lot of the time, and it's a very difficult language to learn any language, but I do think the intensive immersion program is really good. I will tell you guys that in language school, they speak it to you 100% of the time in Korean. Some of the teachers don't know English at all, and a lot of your classmates won't know English either. So it's a really good opportunity if you guys are looking for a more intense way and you do have the money to learn Korean. I would definitely suggest it. And then obviously my third like student life, I guess, in Korea was university. So yeah, I applied to become a regular 4-year university student in Korea. So basically my diploma, my college certificate will be in Korean, and I will get it from a Korean university. I personally chose to do this because I want to live in Korea and I want to continue my life here in Korea. So I figured the best way to stay here longer and get the longer visa would be to obviously have that university degree and also just like do university. I will say again, I am a kind of peculiar case because I have done 2 years of university in America and obviously abroad as well. So I am a junior transfer. I transferred as a junior, so I'll only be attending 2 more years of university in Korea. But you can think of me as a regular Korean student. I have to take my classes in Korean just like the other kids, and I'm treated as a just like normal university student. I'm not even an international student, I'm not even anything. But that application process was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be, but it wasn't too bad either. Again, you need the regular documents like your birth certificate, your college transcripts, your high school transcripts. You need Korean proficiency. So there is a special thing about being American is that I didn't technically need to have the Korean proficiency test. Because my school is a more global university, I do have the option to take a lot of my classes in English, but unfortunately for my major, I cannot take all of my classes in English. But because I did have the native English speaker, I did not need the TOPIK, or the Korean language proficiency test, so I didn't need to take it at all. Most students, don't look at me, most students have to take TOPIK and need to get at least like I think a 3 or a 4 to get accepted into university. It's out of 6, but I did not because I am American. I do want to say that. And also I did have my language school equivalent documents as well, so that also put aside the language. And also, if you do go to language school and go to the same university for school, you do get a little bit of a scholarship as well. I will say that. It was like $200 off or something. But I am attending Dongguk University, the same school I attended language school. And again, the application was way easier for me because I was already a student at the language school. So I kind of just like shoved my way into attending regular college. Again, you need the regular documents to attend college, like, you know, birth certificates, transcripts and stuff. And again, all of those need to be apostilled. But the good thing about apostils are, if you have done it like a year or 2 years beforehand, they still count. So all of my apostille documents I got to go to language school, I could just use again to reapply for university. And I think there are application fees for both of them. I think it was like 150,000 won to apply to school and maybe like 100,000 won to apply to language school. I really don't remember. I'm so sorry. This was all like in July. That's way too long ago. But yeah, now I'm just a normal student. I do take my classes half and half in English and Korean because I just decided to kind of give myself a little bit of an easier way to kind of like roll into school. Obviously, I do know a really good amount of the Korean language and I'm really proud of like my skills, obviously because of language school, but it is kind of really intimidating being the only foreigner in the class of all Koreans, and they obviously do have a couple preconceptions about that. So just letting you guys know, it is a little bit scary, and there's definitely going to be professors that really do challenge you and challenge your abilities, but be calm and just like know yourself, know your abilities, so you can go to school, you can learn in Korean. But like I said, because I did have the option, I do half of my classes in English, half of them in Korean. So yeah, that's kind of my experience. Again, I was an international study abroad transfer student, I was a language student, and now I'm a full-time university attendance. Obviously there's all these other things that you do need, like visas and stuff, but that would be another video for another day. Again, we do have a TikTok coming where I will show you guys like a day in my life of being a university student, so check out for that as well. But now we're going to go into the questions that you guys have for me, so let's get it. Okay, somebody says, how do you make friends when you study abroad or go to language school or go to Korea? Pretty simply, I will just say I made a lot of my friends just through school. I think if you are coming as a student, it's really easy to find people in the same situation as you. Like, there's gonna be people who have left their home country that don't really know anybody else from their home country, and guess what, guys? Everybody wants to make friends. Even though you're shy, put yourself out there, and I promise you there's other people that want to make friends as well. Somebody asked, are the classes hard? I would say when I was a study abroad student, I took all my classes in English because I didn't know Korean at the time. I forgot to mention that. So that was literally a walk in the park, so easy. When I was a language student, the classes were very difficult, and now as a regular Korean university student, yeah, the classes are difficult. Anything I take in Korean has pushed me to the edge. Which university is better, Korean or American? I think Korean universities and American universities are very similar in different ways. You have to remember that when you're in America, you're learning from an American point of learning style, and when you're in Korea, you're learning more of the Asian learning style. So those styles of learning and teaching are very different. Which one is better per se? I don't really know yet, I would say. I definitely think I prefer American schools, but obviously I'm in Korea and I love learning here, so yeah. Is tuition more expensive in America? Yes. Oh my god, yes, you guys. I think I paid for my first semester of college, like as a university student here, I paid about $3,000 US to go to school here, and when I was a student in America, I paid about $30,000 to go to school for one semester, so you have to think of it like that. Also, I do want to point out again about scholarships for Korean university. I think they do have them by financial aid, but I'm not really sure. Again, I do not get any financial aid, so I'm not too sure. Do you feel that it's harder in the US? No, it's easier in the US. How is it going so far? Oh, thank you so much. Right now, I would say the most difficult part is getting over the fact that I am the only foreigner in a lot of my classes. And again, getting over that like jump of like kind of not really like proving myself, but obviously just like showing to the other students and the teachers that I do understand Korean and that I'm supposed to be there. I think that was really hard because there was a lot of preconceptions and just some misunderstandings just in general. I think that was really difficult for me, but now I'm doing okay. How is the class registration process? Did you get the classes you wanted? So because I did apply for university a little bit later, the application process has like 3 different like you can apply 3 different times, and I applied the latest. We did get the latest class registration, so I didn't get all the classes that I wanted to take, but the class registration felt like concert ticketing. That's all I'll say. It felt like actual concert ticketing. Somebody asked, do you have more classes in Korean or in English? So right now, it was supposed to be 3 Korean, 4 English, but right now it's 2 Korean, 4 English because I couldn't get one of the classes I wanted to, so right now more English classes. How do you know your schedule for classes, do you apply for them yourself like colleges in the US? I went to my office of like my how do you call that? What's that called in English? Why, guys? I went to the office of my major, and I asked them for like help on like the course registration, and they were very, very sweet, and they kind of gave me a general guide of where somebody in my junior level should be, and they gave me a recommendation of courses to apply for. I think I'm definitely going to meet with them again before next registration as well, just to kind of get another update. But to be general, they don't give you any help. Maybe it's different for freshmen, but again, as a junior, nobody helped me. Do you guys have a version of Canvas and Blackboard where you get class notifications? Are they in Korean? We do. It's called e-class in Korea, and there is an English website and a Korean website, but again, if the classes are in Korean, you get the notifications in Korean, and if the classes are in English, they give it to you in English. So it's different by the classes, but we do have it. It's called e-class. Do you know if they have financial aid? Again, language school does not. I'm sure university would, but that would be something to you'd have to look into in your specific university, or like the ones you want to apply to. Again, because I do not receive financial aid, it's really hard to talk about financial aid, so I do apologize on that. But yeah, language school does not. Study abroad should, if your university allows it, and if you're going to be a four-year university student, I would look into it. But yeah, I guess that's everything for today. I hope I answered all of your questions, and I hope you guys got to know a little bit more of like student life in Korea. Again, watch the Day in My Life TikTok, and if you guys have any other questions, you guys can comment them down below, and I'd love to start discussions with y'all. I love living in Korea. I love being a student in Korea, but again, I have had all three sides of like student life in Korea, so I definitely have a lot to talk about and a lot of my own opinions and stories to share. So if you guys have further questions, let us know. But yeah, thank you so much to the Kooky app for partnering with me on this video. I loved it so much, and I love talking about like, again, the student life in Korea, because I've been here for a while. But yeah, if you guys have any other specific questions, please let us know. We love you guys, and we'll see you again next week, Saturday, 11 a.m. KST or 10 p.m. Eastern for another live stream and or video. Bye everyone. Mwah.